Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so if you're listening, you probably know English pretty well already. Maybe you've passed the tests, you've got the grammar down, maybe built up quite a bit of vocabulary.
Hmm.
But there's that moment, that one moment that stops so many of us
Yeah.
cold. You know, you're in an important meeting, maybe an interview, or just like a fun conversation, and the sentence you had planned just vanishes. Silence.
Right, and that's exactly what our source material digs into, that specific point where you want to speak, but like it says, your tongue just stopped.
Exactly.
And it's usually not because you don't know the words. It's this sudden wave of anxiety, that
Yeah.
fear of making a mistake or what others might think.
Okay, so let's really get into this. Our mission for this deep dive is to pull out the core insights on building confidence, straight from the research on language learning mindsets.
Mhm.
We're aiming to find that blueprint, for getting over that fear, and show that fluency. It's really about your mindset and, crucially, action, much more than nailing every single grammar rule.
Absolutely. And the central idea here, I think, is that we often focus on the wrong thing entirely.
How so?
Well, most people don't stall because their English is actually bad. They get stuck because they're simply afraid to use it. So we need a fundamental shift away from chasing this impossible idea of perfection
Right.
and towards focusing on real, steady progress,
Mhm.
little steps.
That desire for perfection,
Yeah.
that feels like the biggest trap. We set this incredibly high static bar for ourselves,
Mhm.
and the source material hits that internal question hard, doesn't it? That,
Yeah.
what if I make a mistake? Loop.
It does, and it counters with a pretty blunt truth.
Hmm?
Nobody becomes fluent without making mistakes. It's just part of the process. You have to go through
It's
it.
the price of admission, basically.
Exactly. And we need to kind of reframe how we think about the difficulty. Think about our first language.
Okay.
The material uses that childhood analogy really effectively. As kids, how did we learn? It was messy, right?
Totally messy, falling over words constantly.
Yeah. Listening, repeating, and speaking wrong words again and again, as the source puts it. We just kept trying, usually without any real judgment, until we got it.
Right. Nobody shames a toddler for bad grammar.
Precisely. And that same acceptance, that willingness to be messy, is what we need to bring to learning English as adults.
Okay, intellectually, that makes total sense. But here's the pushback I always feel, and I bet listeners do too. When I was a kid, the stakes were, what, juice? Maybe a toy. Now the stakes feel much higher. It could be a job interview, a big presentation. That judgment feels very real. How do we cultivate that no judgment vibe when, well, sometimes there is actual judgment on the line?
That's a fair point, a crucial distinction. But what the source really emphasizes is that most of the time, the harshest judge, it's you.
Ourselves.
Yeah. That feeling of embarrassment about broken English, it's often something we create and project onto others. The advice is basically try to treat English like you treated your first language. Embrace the messiness. Because if you wait for that perfect moment, that flawless sentence, before you start speaking, well, you'll probably never start.
Oof, yeah.
The instruction is really direct. Just start speaking, and perfection, or rather fluency, will eventually follow. Why? Because that automatic fluent speech, it only develops through actually using the language, again and again, imperfections and all.
So stop waiting. Start doing, even imperfectly. That's the big psychological jump.
It is. Seeing mistakes not as failures, but just as data, information for next time.
Which brings us neatly to the flip side, the cost of not speaking, the cost of silence driven by fear.
Right. And this is where the source material gets really punchy. It draws this comparison, almost designed to jolt you into action.
Oh, no, what is it?
It says, look, if you speak broken English, yeah, maybe someone notices an error for a second. It's a fleeting moment of discomfort.
Right, temporary awkwardness.
But if you choose silence because you're scared, the source is you laugh at yourself forever.
Wow, that hits hard.
It does. It highlights that lingering regret, that self-blame for the missed opportunity, the connection you didn't make.
Because they were too afraid to try. Yeah, that internal critique lasts way longer than someone maybe noticing a wrong verb tense.
Exactly. The psychological burden of silence, in the long run, is far heavier than the minor embarrassment of speaking imperfectly.
That really forces a rethink of what success even means here.
It has to. Success isn't about, suddenly sounding like a native speaker overnight or using fancy vocabulary.
No.
The real goal, what actually matters in most situations, professional or personal, is achieving clear communication and confidence. That's the target.
And the sources back this up, right? They talk about what people actually notice and remember when you speak.
Yes, and it's almost never the tiny grammatical slips. What sticks with people?
Your energy, your enthusiasm.
Exactly, your energy, your passion, maybe your smile. And frankly, the sheer guts it takes to stand up and communicate, especially if it's clearly not your first language. That courage resonates.
So the message and the delivery, the feeling behind it, overrides the technical stuff.
Largely, yes.
Mhm.
People connect with the what and the how, the confidence of your delivery much more than they nitpick the grammar. Internalizing
Yeah.
that should be incredibly freeing for anyone learning. It shifts the whole power dynamic away from fear.
Okay, so if we've got the mindset sorted progress over perfection, embrace mistakes, focus on confident communication, now we need the how,
Hmm.
the practical stuff.
Right, mindset is crucial, but it needs action.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's just wishful thinking.
And the research offers some clear, actionable steps for daily practice, doesn't it?
It does. And these are designed to weave English into your everyday life,
Mm-hmm.
to get it out of the studying part of your brain and into the doing part.
Okay, step one. Sounds simple, maybe deceptively so. Talk to yourself in English every day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, confession time. I tried this once on the train, muttering to myself, I think people thought I was unwell.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a common hazard. You don't have to do it loudly in public. Start internally, just thinking in English. But eventually, yeah, try to vocalize it, even if it's quiet or just when you're alone. The goal isn't performance. It's creating your own safe practice zone, building that muscle memory for forming English sentences. You need to hear it.
Got it. Private practice zone. And step two builds on that. Describe mundane actions.
Exactly. As you're doing things, just say it. Quietly or in your head, I'm making coffee. I'm walking to the bus stop. This email is tricky
Why is that so effective?
because you're skipping the translation step in your brain. You're linking the English words directly to the action, the experience.
Ah, I see. Less mental calculation.
Precisely. It moves the language towards automatic processing, reduces that cognitive load that makes people freeze up in real conversations.
Makes sense. Okay, and step three involves media. Watching English videos.
Yes, but with a crucial addition. Watch with subtitles, fine, but really listen. And then, repeat. Pause the video, repeat the phrase.
Ah, so it's active, not just passive watching.
Absolutely critical. The rule is, don't just learn English, use English. Even repeating a line from a show integrates listening, reading, speaking. Doing that consistently is way more powerful than just memorizing word lists. It's all about application.
Which brings us back to confidence. It's not about knowing everything, is it?
Not at all. That's just knowledge. True confidence, the kind that lets you speak despite fear, comes from doing something over and over.
Repetition builds familiarity.
And familiarity reduces fear. Every single time you speak, even if you stumble a bit, you're basically training your brain. You're telling it, see, this is okay, we survived.
Normalizing the act of speaking.
Exactly. Consistent exposure and those little successes, even just getting a sentence out, that's what builds resilience against fear.
So we need to redefine those stumbles. The broken English, forgetting a word, pausing. That's not failure.
No. The sources are clear. That is learning. It's the evidence you're pushing yourself. It's the necessary struggle. Success here really relies on those 3 Ps. Practice, patience, and persistence.
Right. You gotta keep showing up.
You do. And to help lock in that commitment, the source material actually suggests making some promises to yourself.
Oh, like affirmations.
Sort of, but more like concrete commitments, tactical pledges to guide your behavior.
Okay, what are they?
First, I will speak English every day. Simple, but powerful. It builds the habit.
Consistency is key. Makes sense. Second.
Second, I will not care what others think. Now, this isn't about being oblivious. It's about reframing criticism.
How do you mean?
Instead of feeling shame, you treat it as data. Like, okay, they didn't understand that word. Maybe I need a different one next time. Or, I used the past tense wrong there. Noted. You take the useful information, but you discard the emotional weight of the judgment.
Detaching the ego from the error. I like that. Third promise.
Third, I will learn from my mistakes. Directly linked to the last one. Every stumble is a lesson.
Yeah.
Use it to improve the next attempt.
Active learning. And the last one.
The final promise underpins everything. I will never give up on my dream of speaking fluent English. That's about the long game, securing that deep psychological commitment to keep going.
Those 4 promises, they create a strong internal framework.
They really do. And when you connect that discipline, that commitment, to the bigger picture, well, English stops being just a subject you study
It becomes something more.
Yeah, the research uses this lovely metaphor. It calls English a bridge.
A bridge to what?
A bridge connecting you to new people, obviously, all over the world, but also, crucially, to new opportunities.
Like better jobs, access to information.
Exactly. Negotiating salaries, leading teams, reading research in its original language. And perhaps most profoundly, it's a bridge to a new version of yourself.
How so?
A version who's overcome this fear, who's more capable, more confident, more courageous. That's a huge personal transformation.
Wow. That is the ultimate reward, isn't it? Beyond just communication.
Absolutely. So when that doubt creeps in, that fear starts to rise.
Yeah.
The idea is to lean on those action-oriented affirmations. I can speak English. I will speak English.
Not just wishing, but declaring intent.
Right. I am confident, not because you're perfect, but because you're trying. I am growing every single day, acknowledging the progress.
Don't let the fear write your story.
Precisely. Take control of the narrative.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, the core message seems crystal clear. Stop waiting. Don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect vocabulary or the perfect accent because, well, they're probably never coming.
There's no perfect time. There's really only now.
So start today, start small, maybe just talking to yourself. Start scared if you need to, that's okay. But the absolute key is just start. That action changes everything.
It really does. If you stick with it, keep that positive focus, keep practicing patiently and persistently, you'll get there. And honestly, you'll probably look back one day and be amazed, truly surprise yourself with how far you've come.
That's a great motivator.
And maybe here's a final thought to chew on. Who's really laughing at your broken English? Often it's the person who's too afraid to even try speaking a second language themselves. Your English doesn't need to be flawless. It just needs to be yours. Strong enough to share your ideas, your personality. Speak with courage. Speak from the heart, and people will listen.